is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
4 more kilometers.
Oh, there we go! This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride.
Wonky! Down to the inside of Hookie's off!
Passenger throws the block, and he will keep him behind him.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up. I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of Outlaws.
Here's to hugging corners, not cutting them. To grinding away, not grinding to a halt. Here's to those who stay true to the old saying, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. From Tallboy Storage to the latest line of extreme grip hand tools, Craftsman is there when it matters.
Good evening and welcome as we bring you some of the most exciting esports action on dirt as the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Championship Series takes to round 5 from Eldora Speedway. Randy Cheneth, Cam Walsh, and Hugo Louis bring you all the action tonight as these guys take to the very fast high banks of Eldora. Cam, we've seen some interesting updates to the dirt surface model, and it put on a fantastic race in the late models last week. I think we're going to see it really bring some fantastic racing tonight here as well in the sprint cars.
Well, Eldora always puts on a show, and it should continue that here with the 410 wing sprint cars. All the big names are here, Randy, and it is up to them to figure out between the couple of heats and the Consolation and then the finale who's going to get the money. And I got to say, for Eldora, well, we already had a high bank run up against the wall. Let's see how that goes now with the track getting wearing in as much.
Qualifying still underway. Still have about a minute and some change for that. It's currently Nick Cooper at the top of the time sheets. As we're going to take a look at your current championship standings. It is Tim Ryan who leads the way with 264 points with 2 wins in this series. Second place, still Howard Weaver going strong with 243. Alex Bergeron with 234. Then you get James Edens and Chase Cabre rounding out the top 5 with Cameron Dance, David Heileman, Chris Brenner, Adam Elby, and AJ Neiman who round out the rest of your top 10. And big thing to note here with the points already, Cam, the top 10 already basically spread out by 100 points. So you got Tim Ryan in first with 264, AJ Neiman in 10th with 167. That's a pretty big margin for these guys in just 5 rounds. For the likes of really Cabre, Dance, Heileman, Brenner, Elby, Neiman, even some of the others quote-unquote sprint car specialists and regulars, Austin Simmelman, Robert Kurtzetter, Anthony Lepresto, and the like, They really need to kick up their consistency in this series, and then more importantly, they need to start having some good runs.
Yeah, and some good luck as well. I mean, we are a 1/3 distance through the season, and this will carry us into the second third here of the inaugural World of Outlaws Craftsman World Championship Sprint Car Series. But I think it's been interesting. We definitely had some high dramas in the late model race. Let's see if we can follow that up here in the sprint cars.
So, with the counter officially down to 0, the entire field has been qualified, and we are gridding our first heat race of the night and keeping up a string of strong performances with 2 wins in this championship. He had 3 poles, and he just made it 4 in 5 races. Tim Ryan will start on the pole position for heat race number 1. Quick time of the evening. Britton Roxbury will be in 2nd. Weston Newell will roll off in 3rd. Robert Kerstetter will start from the 4th spot. AJ Neben in 5th, Rusty Kruger in 6th, Cam Dance 7th, and Toby DeBille will round out the 8-car field for heat race number 1. Once again, 8 laps, top 4 transfer. There's a number of names in this heat race, Cam, that we were just talking about need to start getting some very consistent runs and some just flat out fast runs in here. Robert Kurtzitter's the name in that list. AJ Neben, Rusty Kruger, guys that we've seen up near the front, but for one reason or another have not put together a successful season really thus far.
Yeah, and there is still plenty of time. You know, as we said, we're only 1/3 of the way through, but this probably could be a really big plus for a lot of people, especially here at Eldora. You think about the differences for the track surface. It's not a tremendous difference, but it is a difference. So, of course, perhaps some drivers could rise to the top. Some drivers could fall to the side. Let's see what they can do here as heat number 1 getting ready to get out on the track.
Waiting for these cars to get rolled off here, as we got a couple of TTL Esports teammates, of course, in this race. There has been a team change for that driver of Team Ryan. No longer part of Evolution Racing Team, a team that's going through some woes in its own right and is practically going back to being Evolution Racing Australia as they roll themselves off. Now a member of Atlas, an entirely new organization pretty much. The field rolls off down the back straightaway, and I think Cam is pretty much all eyes on the 98 of Tim Ryan for this one. Easily the favorite for this heat race because he put that car on pole by 0.06 of a second. The only driver to get down to the 13.2s, everyone 13.3 or slower.
Yeah, and we'll see here what they can do as the pace track getting ready to pull in here, exactly how they're going to tackle the track. Probably run about the middle of the line, and then they'll obviously creep on up. So as the day will go on, we'll see if Tim Ryan is able to keep that speed.
But down the back straightaway, they follow the iRacing safety truck. And Britton Roxbury and Tim Ryan will be getting ready to take us to green flag racing. Where will these guys find speed on the racetrack? Will they run up top? Will they run down low? We'll only have to wait and see as the field rolls through 3 and 4. The iRacing safety truck ducks down to the safety of pit road, and Tim Ryan wastes no time. He's on it. We are green in heat race number 1. The 98s pretty much clear the field immediately. 421, Roxbury up against the wall. Weston Newell, Robert Kurtzetter, most of your field all running that upper groove. They're 4 wide in the mid-pack. I believe that's Newell, Kurtzetter, Neiman, and Kruger all fighting for spots. Cam Dance is in there as well. They hold on to it. As spots start getting swapped back and forth immediately here in the mid-pack.
That's AJ Nevin is currently in 4th as Cameron Dance tries to run that inside line. He's going to throw a bit of a slide job on number 10 machine. Rusty Kruger, they're going to almost go 3 wide going through corner number 1. They do go 3 wide for just 1 second, and they straighten themselves out. So for Cameron Dance, he's going to have to sort himself out right quick and see if he can figure out how he's going to chase down his teammate in that TTL machine, AJ Nevin. As Nevin now almost pressuring Weston Newell, running that low side.
He puts that car down in the middle of the racetrack. His teammate behind goes up to the top. The 10 machine gets a big run on the outside. A little bit of car in the wall for a moment, but everyone's still rolling here. As Rusty Kruger attempts to throw a pass, I believe, on Cameron Dance. Maybe no, that was Toby DeBelle, and had to really back out of it there. So Rusty Kruger's lost the spot early, and now he goes to the outside of that 7 car of Toby DeBelle, trying to make it work, going to try to bring it down, I think, to the middle of the racetrack. Not sure if he's going to be able to make that work. Now rolling lap number 6 of 8, but a fantastic fight here, just a little bit past the realm of that transfer spot. So down now, the back straightaway, working lap number 7 of 8 is Tim Ryan, heading off towards corners number 3 and 4. Britton Roxbury almost a full second behind to show you the sort of pace Tim Ryan has had all season. They get the white flag here for heat race number 1. Field works the way through 1 and 2. Top 4 pretty much all strung out here. No challenge. Rusty Kruger, though, and Weston Newell, they're fighting it out for 5th as Tim Ryan's going to come off turn 4, win this heat race. Weston Newell is going to make a fantastic last lap pass on Kruger to pick out the 5th spot, and the Bill will actually get past Kruger as well. So Kruger goes from 5th to 7th in the final couple corners. Your top 4 there will be Ryan, Roxbury, Neben, and Dance. Those are your transfer spots. Weston Newell finishes 5th, DeBille 6th. Kruger drops a couple of spots in 7th, and Robert Kurtzetter, I believe technical issues, drops him to the back of the field, full 8 late laps down. Did not start that race, so he will start from the back here in this one. Not a great run, not a great start to the night for Robert Kurtzetter. So heat race number 2, getting ready to get started here. Go down the starting grid for this one as Nick Cooper, driver who has shown great pace in late models on for a couple rounds this far this season, nearly won a race at Limeland. Austin Selman is going to start 2nd with Dan Smolders and Chris Brenner 3rd and 4th on that 2nd row. Matt McKinney and Anthony Lepresto going to be rolling off 5th and 6th. Saw Matt have a fantastic run last week. Going to be wanting to work with that momentum this week with Bradley Cash and Jesse Dawkins rounding out the tail end of the field. So another 8 cars, another 8 laps. Surely some excitement. Really just sort of all eyes on Selman here to see if he can get that momentum started the right way tonight. He has a good starting spot for this heat. He needs to be able to keep it though. See that blazing yellow number 41 on the top of that 18 car link. Still honoring Jason Johnson, World of Outlaws driver that lost his life a couple of weeks ago, very sadly. You're going to see several of the drivers honoring him in one way or another as the field works their way in towards 3 and 4. iRacing safety truck gets ready to pull down to get a hot dog, and Nick Cooper will be in command of it. Couple people try to jump it. Brenner and Selman, most notably, they both mistime it. Dan Smolders, though, with an excellent reaction time. He's going to have the bottom groove here on Austin Selman. They're nearly going to be 3 wide for that lead spot. Selman up top, 211 in the middle, and 35 down low. They come off corner number 4. Cooper drops back to 3rd, and Selman is going to lead this heat race up the line. The 211, though, Dan Smolders is not giving up, but now he's going to have to as he drops back pretty much 3 car lengths. And the 18 is Selman picks up that lead spot. Chris Brenner running in that 4th position. Now he's going to try to work underneath this 211 in towards 1 and 2, running the middle of the racetrack. Can he maintain momentum down there? No, not yet. Still a lot of good dirt up on that upper groove, but that 70 is still trying to make it happen. So now the back straight with the 18 of Austin Selman on the exit. Had a very close encounter with the wall. 211 of Dan Smolders still trying that middle groove, and he closes on the 18 of Austin Selman by a lot through 3 and 4 that time. He runs the top right up against the outside wall through 1 and 2 in the second half of the heat race. 211 actually tags that outside wall with the right rear. Matt McKinney's managed to get himself up into a transfer spot as well. Anthony Lepresto's up 1. And Jesse Dawkins is running in the 6th spot, up 2 positions. The Selman is very nervous here with a couple of laps to go. The 211 running right up on his rear bumper as they roll through corners number 3 and 4. The 70 machine of Chris Brenner very tight as well. A little bit of a contact between Dan Smolders and Chris Brenner. That's going to separate out that lead battle. With the 211 a little bit too loose on entry into turn 1. Got him into that 70 of Chris Brenner, but they managed to keep it going. White flag at the iRacing starter stand right now. And it's Chris Brenner who slotted himself into that 2nd spot. Matt McKinney in that 4th position. Anthony Lepresto in 5th. And as Austin Selman rolls through corners number 3 and 4, first heat race win of the year, I believe, for him. He wins heat race number 2. Chris Brenner comes home in 2nd. Dan Smolders in 3rd, and Matt McKinney goes from 5th to 4th to take that 4th transfer spot. Lepresto, Dawkins, and Cash, the remaining 7 finishers, and Nick Cooper got into some trouble in that one. He finishes 2 laps down, going from starting in 1st to finishing worst in that 8th spot. An exciting heat race there in heat race number 2.
Yeah, absolutely, and just had to sort some stuff out for myself, but you know what, I will say I'm surprised that they were fighting so hard for the 2nd and 3rd position. One little incident there, Randy, could have absolutely dropped them right off. That could have pushed them right into the outside wall, which is so easy here at Eldora, and I think we're going to see that as the track wears in more. But, well, either way, it was some good racing, and hopefully we can continue to see that as the track wears in.
as we get ready. Heat race number 3, third and final heat race of the night, gearing up right now. Alex Bergeron, the other driver that's been pretty much the closest to being dominant thus far this season. He's definitely been the most dominant of the of the drivers that run in both series. Tim Ryan has definitely had his number in the sprint cars, though. He's managed to only pull off a single win thus far this season to Tim Ryan's 2. Second spot is going to be James Edens. Phil Diaz and Ryan Pace will roll off 3 and 4. Howard Weaver and Michael Sheridan on row number 3. Weaver, of course, pretty much been the most consistent of all drivers across the 2 series. Yet to finish outside the top 7 a single time in either championship here in 2018, with Adam Elby and David Heilemann continue the string of what I would say are subpar performances for what we normally see from David.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that we have a good heat number 3 here, and I am going to keep my eye out on James Edens. Finally, not just a white car, so we'll see what James can also do, and you got to keep an eye out, obviously, with the 07 of Howard Weaver, see what he can do. You know what, this heat, I will have to say, is, just as you were saying, pretty much stacked the entire field here. All 8 cars are known and good drivers. Let's see what they can do.
So down the back straightaway for the final 4 spots that will go directly from the heats to the feature. Then we will, of course, have that last chance qualifying race. The top 12 there will get themselves into the main event as well. That's going to be an exciting one. It always is. iRacing safety truck says, you know what? I need some nachos. He goes down to safety at pit road. A little bit of bumping already between the 52 and the 12 before they ever pick up the throttle. Alex waited a little bit long, but he's going to get on at 52 of Edens, trying to run that bottom groove, but still no speed down there. Phil Diaz is wheel to wheel with Ryan Pace for third. Ryan finds himself in the outside wall, and I think David Heilemann does a brilliant job avoiding him, so we're going to keep everyone pretty much clean and running forward. Phil Diaz, he continues an impressive string of races, Cam, and running here in third. One of the few drivers on the iRacing service. He holds 4 World Championship licenses between the NASCAR PK Freeze iRacing Series, the Twin World of Outlaws Series, and the Rallycross Series. And Phil has been amazingly consistent, but he's got David Heilemann pressing him hard now in towards 3 and 4. David's going to try to pull the slider down low, and I don't think it's going to stick.
Yeah, and for David Heilemann, he's obviously took the best that he could out of that mistake from Ryan Price. He's now pulled the inside, almost run a slide jive on to Philip Diaz. Now he's going to go to the inside, should have it done. And he's got Adam Elby following that number 74 machine. That inside as they actually make wheel-to-wheel contact. Adam Elby almost goes for a win. Goes for a spin. Howard Weaver had to back out of that one. Howard Weaver does not seem to have any speed here, at least in these early heats, as Alex Bergeron pulls away. He's got about 5 car lengths.
Alex has about a half-second lead over the field right now. James Edens in second, has a few tenths of a second on Michael Sheridan. David Heilemann showing good speed, did not qualify very well though, but did very well to run his way through the field quickly. Phil Diaz has dropped back into the 5th spot, something that you know is going to frustrate him as he gets the 2 laps to go signal from the iRacing starter stand. Down the back straightaway, they now go once again. Heilemann closing on that 21 of Michael Sheridan. You see David right up against the outside wall. A number of cars starting to move to those lower grooves. White flag in the air. You see that 21 and the 52 fighting back and forth just a little bit. Heilemann's got to run in towards 3 and 4. He might be able to make something of this as Bergeron is going to win this third heat race. Edens second, Sheridan will comfortably hold on to third, and Heilemann will round out the top 4. So he will get himself the transfer spot. Diaz, Elby, and Ryan Pace, and Howard Weaver for the first time this season really gets a rough run in one of these heat races, does not finish, and he's going to be starting from the back of the Consolation because of it. Gloves were still kept on a little bit in that heat race, Cam, but we're starting to see this track get really racy.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to also see a couple of cars plant that right rear into that outside wall here at Rossburg, Ohio, and as we know, well, that stands the devil's edge there, and that is so easy to get your wheel caught up in that wall. And well, we've been pretty lucky so far, Randy, with people hitting that outside wall, but the last thing that we want is that first or second position car hitting that outside wall and then coming across the track in front of the field. So we got 12 cars that are going to be heading on the track, and of course, as we can expect, this 12-car field is going to do some good old laps here at Eldora, and they are really going to wear in this track for the future.
I believe I might have misspoke earlier when I said 12 cars would transfer. I was wrong. 12 cars would take part here in this last qualifier. Top 8 will transfer. Let's go down to your starting grid. Weston Newell and Anthony Lepresto make up row 1 with Philip Diaz and Tony DeBille on row 2. Jesse Dawkins, Adam Elby rolling off on row 3. Rusty Kruger, Bradley Cash row number 4. Bradley in the 28 is starting in the transfer spot. Ryan Pace and Robert Kurtzetter make up row 5 with Nick Cooper and Howard Weaver rolling off row 6. So Howard Weaver, if he's going to make the show here, Cam, he's going to be having to do it from the back here, starting dead last in this field, and that's very relevant for the person who currently sits second in the points in this championship.
And Eldora is not a place that is very, very okay with letting you just get position after position after position. So let's see what he can do as they go down the back stretch, getting ready to start the Consolation race.
So down the back straightaway they will come, and it'll be all eyes on that triple deuce of Weston Newell. Of course, Anthony Lepresto. Anthony, always a driver watching this series, can oftentimes be fireworks. The safety of pit road, they go, and a big wheel stand from Lepresto, and he gets into Phil Diaz almost immediately. Not sure if Phil Diaz went around, he didn't, but a huge gaggle of cars down the mid-pack as a 9 car gets shuffled into the back, 3 wide down the back straightaway in your mid-pack as well. As they roll through 3 and 4, everyone still jockeying for various positions. As the aggression picks up immediately, the 7 and the 28 get into one another. That's Toby DeBille and Brad Cash. We got 1 car upside down on the wall. Bradley Cash, his night is done, so the gloves come off immediately from people who are running up front already in the transfer spot.
Yeah, I said this before in one of the heats, and that's not what you want to see. That was for P3 also. Jesse Dacus was involved in that opening lap kerfluffle there with Phil Diaz and everyone else. So he got sent all the way back. His day is all essentially being done, running in position 11 now, as people are still running fairly strong right now, straight file, as Robert Kerstetter's the one who's finding himself in the action as these cars are starting to search around the track for the grip.
Triple 2 machine of Weston Newell has been able to open up a huge margin, 7/10 of a second. Second and third are very close, though, between Anthony Lepresto and Adam Elby. I almost said Anthony Elby because I'm not a smart human being. Down the front straight and in towards 1 and 2. See that 74 car tucked right up against the outside wall. Going to pick up a big run of steam down this back straightaway. May have tapped the wall that hurt him. The 857 now flirting with that bottom groove, seeing if he can find pace down there, and he seems to be able to do so. Diaz, after his hectic start, has managed to settle into 4th. Ryan Pace 5th. Kruger in 6th. Kersetter 7th. And Toby DeBille currently sitting in the 8th spot. Running in 9th is the 07 of Howard Weaver. Up 3 spots, so he's right on the bubble cam of being able to get there, and he's putting in good laps, but he's not closing in on DeBille quite enough. He needs just a little bit more to be able to get there. Maybe a little bit of trouble to happen out in front of him as well. And there's a couple of cars that are racing hard, relatively close to one another. Kersetter, Kruger, as well as Ryan Pace are all under a blanket right now and side by side off of corner number 2.
This is for a transfer position. These guys need to cool it down here. Anything that happens, and Toby DeBille and Howard Weaver are going to be very happy people. Toby because he'll be safe. Howard because he'll be in the show. Howard did end up catching at one point up to Toby DeBille, but DeBille ended up taking the corner away from him. He had to back off and get himself sorted out as Kerstetter still chasing the
there's
inside.
a move. Howard Weaver makes a move on Toby. Sorry, this is for the transfer spot. Wheel contact through 3 and 4. Howard's trying the middle of groove, and 7. The 7 car cuts it off this time. Down the back straightaway, they will come once again and in towards 3 and 4 inside of 5 laps remaining in this race. Howard Weaver tucked right on the rear nerf bar of Toby DeBille as they roll through 1 and 2. You see Weaver trying to angle that car to the bottom groove, slides up the racetrack. This is allowing Nick Cooper to close on this battle as well. So we're going to have a 3-car scrap for the transfer spot as Weaver makes a little bit of contact with Toby, picks the front wheels up off the car. There's not a lot of traction when you take those front wheels off the ground. And now the 07 falls back, and the 7 car also loses the transfer spot. So DeBille and Weaver go right back to fighting for it.
And Nick Cooper was able to power on the outside, so the outside line might be coming into play here as Toby DeBille, he's got to throw a slide up on Howard Weaver, and for the 3rd time in a row, Toby DeBille has ended up moving Howard Weaver's machine with his nerf bar.
The white flag's in the air for your race leader. 222 of Weston Newell heads to corners number 3 and 4. He will win the last chance qualifier. Adam Elby, Phil Diaz, Anthony Lepresto, Ryan Pace, your top 5. Kruger, Kerstetter, and Nick Cooper will round out the 8 transferees. Toby DeBille will come home in the 9th spot. Howard Weaver, for the first time this season, will not make a feature race. Bradley Cash will finish 6 laps down in 11th, and Jesse Dacus will round out the 12-car field. Not the night he would have wanted either. And that's going to get things set for the feature race here. We are going to take a short break here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacing Live, on Dirt Vision, and of course on the all-new iRacing Esports Network. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes for your feature race. Don't go away.
Did you know your DirtVision.com account gives you free access to our on-demand video library? From the DirtVision.com homepage, click on On-Demand Video near the top right of the screen. And from there, countless hours of World of Outlaws footage awaits at your fingertips. Watch every lap of the current World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series season.
Sheldon Hutchins looking for a run. Dives low into turn 3. Slide job! Sheldon Hutchins to the cushion. Johnson turns it back underneath him, but Sheldon leads lap 23.
Or dive into some of the historical options with videos in our Classics section.
He has clear visibility, comes off the fourth turn in the clear, and leads lap number 1.
It's all available free and on demand on DirtVision.com.
Welcome back here to the iRacing World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Championship Series, round number 5 at Eldora. The feature race getting ready to start. Hot laps getting ready to close right now. Everyone's out there feeling the track conditions, may make a couple last-second setup changes to their cars. Cam, the lower lines are starting to come in. Everyone is running through traditional line right up against the top that you typically see here at Eldora. But those middle and lower grooves are starting to get more and more viable. We saw that in that B main. Drivers really start moving down the racetrack trying to make some moves.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to see here is the different disciplines come in, I think. Alex Bergeron is the first person that comes to mind when somebody that's riding that top wall. You got to see what he's going to be able to do here. He's going to be starting from the 3rd position, and it'll be interesting. It'll be exciting to see who is going to be able to risk it riding that high side wall and who starts throwing the sliders.
Here it is. The field gets ready to grid up. Counter is timing down. The drivers have 2 minutes to hit the grid. It will, of course, cut short when all the drivers do so. And let's go down your starting grid. And boy, oh boy, there are some rivalries at the front of the field. Tim Ryan will be on pole position with 2 of some of the signature VLR drivers behind him. Austin Sullivan in second on that front row with Alex Bergeron in third. Some of the heavy hitters in the wing sprint cars in the past starting up in front with Britton Roxbury rounding out that 4th spot. Chris Brenner and James Edens will roll off in 5th and 6th with AJ Neven and Dan Smolders in 7th and 8th. Michael Sheridan and Cameron Dance will roll off P9 and 10. Matt McKinney and David Heileman 11th and 12th. Weston Newell and Adam Elby 13th and 14th. Phil Diaz and Anthony Lapresto 15th and 16th. Ryan Pace and Rusty Kruger 17th and 18th. With Robert Kurtsetter and Nick Cooper rounding out the 20-car field. The drivers who missed the action tonight here for the feature event: Bradley Cash, Toby DeBille, Jesse Doctors, and Howard Weaver. As the field gets ready to roll off, Cam, I think we're going to see fireworks out in front. Tim Ryan, Austin Stellman, Alex Bergeron. There is history there between those 3. It's a history of not playing nice with one another.
Yeah, most certainly. And then you got to remember how these cars restart. And of course, got to say Alex Bergeron is probably one of the most active people for trying to jump restarts. You got to say Tim Ryan is one of the most people who has had creative restarts. Now, of course, that's been sorted out, but I have to say the biggest news already is Howard Weaver not making the feature. That's going to be a big points drop for him.
Definitely is. I think 100% will drop behind Alex. Question will be, will he drop behind James Edens? Got a 30-some-odd point advantage coming in. I'd say the answer to that's probably yes. He could drop to the tail end of the top 5, but regardless, action for the World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Car Championship Series here on iRacing, coming at you on iRacing Live, presented by RaceBot TV on DirtVision and the all-new iRacing Esports Network. Pace truck to the safety of pit road. Tim Ryan wastes no time. We are green. 30 laps on the board. And the 98 of Tim Ryan will lead him in towards 1 and 2. The 12 of Bergeron going to try to run the bottom on his teammate. Not going to work out. Britton Roxbury has a little bit of momentum and nearly had the line up top on Alex Bergeron. They're also 3 wide behind for 5th. They're still fighting out for the 70. Chris Brenner ends up taking the spot for now. But the 52 and 17 are still hanging tight down there as Brenner is hung up behind that 421 of Roxbury.
And it's almost 3-3 wide as the one car, the Michael Sheridan 21 machine, gets massive loose right in front of Weston Newell. He'll have to dive low, but he'll slide up the racetrack. These cars are moving and grooving all over the racing surface right now. That's only going to last for maybe another couple of laps as Chris Brenner, the number 70 machine, tries to perhaps move on the inside of Rick Roxbury. But right now, it seems to me everyone wants to try to make it to the top with only a couple of people, Randy, keeping it in on that inside line.
A lot of action in the mid-pack as well. The 211 of Dan Smolders, 51 of Matt McKinney, the 5 of David Heilman, 17 of AJ Neben, 74 of Adam Elby. They've been locked in a scrap, swapping side by side, 3 wide at moments as well. They just start getting themselves strung back out, and they're going to take another look back out in front. It's Tim Ryan who leads this race by just over half a second. Austin Selman in second, closely followed by his teammate of Alex Bergeron, as yellow is going to fly for the first time tonight.
Yeah, for the number 17 machine of AJ Nebben, this had nothing to do with nobody other than that number 17. Car started losing some I think it got front wheel grip, and then it hit the outside wall, and that sent him flipping and flying.
It was an interesting line down the front straightaway he took.
I'm sure it would be overall quicker, but I don't know if you can do that every lap.
Yeah, it's definitely something that could have been come into effect there, but field's going to get themselves reset here. And now this is what we always talk about when Tim Ryan's at the front of the field, Cam, is, you know, he's had restarts that were more creative than a Bob Ross painting. And this is always the big thing, is when will he go? Will he wait until the last moment? He's been famous for holding restarts up, but he's also gone really, really early a couple times. Could really go either way on this one. I think if you're that 98 car, you're going to want to shake it up, though, especially with that 12 car starting right in line behind you.
Yeah, again, it's going to be Bergeron right behind you, and he typically he almost has Bergeron's number for getting Bergeron to take a bite. But I will say we do have the T. Hudson here as watching over from the officials booth there, so I have a feeling, especially with the how things have developed, that we're going to have nothing but clean restarts here, I'm hoping. And we also have to remember, if things do get too rough, we certainly can have single file restarts as well.
Definitely the main thing here. And you see Tim Ryan taking his traditional long gap from the iRacing safety truck, which potentially opens some options up for him as they run their way down the back straightaway at 38 miles an hour behind the safety car. Now we wait and see what's going to happen. What is that 12 car going to do? Is he going to jump it? Is he going to get it right? See the 12 car get a little bit apprehensive, and he doesn't time it right. Tim Ryan gets away with a huge restart. Austin Selman in second. Bergeron's going to try to slide his teammate, but it's not quite going to happen. Chris Brenner going to try to hook it up on the outside. Nothing going just yet. Can't get alongside Bergeron either, as Roxbury's going to try to hold it on the bottom as well. Nothing going there. 52 of Edens will immediately pounce on him, as out in front, the 98 is still sprinting away as Bergeron gets around his teammate in for second, and Selman finds himself on the outside wall.
Yeah, and that was partly because of Alex Bergeron, but I will say when they started there, Selman threw a massive lunge to the inside. He almost got to pull alongside Tim Ryan, but of course the 98 was able to pull forward. Chris Brenner now working on the attack for second position. He throws a massive slide job to Alex Bergeron. Sees coming out, the number 12 machine going past start finish line, gets himself sorted out. So it's interesting here. We're starting to see Slide Job City come into effect here at Rosberg.
That upper groove is starting to go away. You see Brenner throw the slider for second, gets up in front of the 12 of Bergeron, and he's going to hold on to the spot. Bergeron throws it right back down to the bottom, slides up to the racetrack. Chris Brenner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back to the racing surface. Coming in beautifully here tonight, half distance here in the feature race, and the 70 of Brenner will hold on to that top spot. Selman still shuffled back into the fourth spot as caution is going to fly. Once again, going to reset the field. We're going to have to see what brought out this one. I see a couple cars slow towards pit road. Yeah, down Smolders is slowed down on near pit road. That was the two of them. They got into one another. It's actually kind of funny. They got into one another and they basically hit the outside wall at the same time. Looks like a bit of a glitch in the matrix as they then get up into each other. And I think it was the 87 may have got a piece of that as well. No, 57 or LaPresto who got a piece of that as well. But beyond Smolders and the other car we saw on the side, really not too many other cars that got a piece of that one.
Yeah, and that's going to mean that we now have 4 retirements between Rusty Kruger, Dan Smolders, Adam Elby, and then AJ Nevins. So, second caution, just past halfway. I have to say, that they did look obviously like they were having an incident. I think that a couple of those drivers could have saw that and went, oh, well, I should back out of this one. But, well, it's very hard to slow up these sprint cars. Typically, you try to slow them up, you're going to put yourself in the outside wall. But you know what? I feel like a couple of those drivers had a bit more time. But you know what, though? We still got, 20 cars ready to rock and roll here, 16 cars ready to rock and roll here, so we're going to have hopefully a good run to the rest of the race, and, well, for Tim Ryan, he now has Chris Brenner on his outside.
And talking about this restart and Tim Ryan, he still got Alex Bergeron in third, and I really do think that Tim Ryan is in Alex's head, because we see every single time Alex tries to jump it, and right after he sort of gets off the throttle and rolls back, as we're getting ready to go green here next time by, Tim basically just gets on the throttle the moment he knows Alex is rolling backwards.
Yeah, and for me, I gotta say, it's almost like Days of Thunder in the middle of the movie, where there's the new guy, and he was always able to mess with the main protagonist of the movie, and that's basically what is happening. We'll see if Tim Ryan's able to do it again as he gets ready to go green.
Green flag back in the air. Alex Bergeron not nearly as aggressive trying to jump in. He's going to try to get that second spot, though. Brenner up top is not going to be able to hold on to it. Terrible restart to him. He was down to fourth at one point, but look at the run. He got off corner number 2. He's going to try to slide up in front of that 12 car now. Will he be able to do so? Yes. Fantastic move there from the 70. He went from second to fourth, back to second in just a couple of moments. Now, can Brenner put his head down and reel in that 98 of Tim Ryan out in front? Bergeron still in the third spot, followed by Britton Roxbury very closely, and Matt McKinney in fifth. Very, very tight up front. We got one driver as well doing a bit of a slider. I think it's the 52 of James Edens trying to make some moves. The 57 of Lepresto involved as well.
Yeah, James Edens, he goes from the very bottom to the very top as he slots in right in front of Anthony Lepresto as they go into 1 and 2 one more time. And here comes Lepresto, the number 57 machine. He gets washed out a little bit with that damaged front Nerf bar as he plants his right rear out there. Starting to notice a couple of these cars taking a bite out.
Sorry, huge impact to the outside wall. He didn't be able to hold on to it, but he bicycled that car down the front straightaway. It was on 2 wheels, and this is what we've seen from Silverman all year, Cam. He has a good run. He might finish well in the heat, start up near the front, and he ends up throwing a good performance away right near the end. He goes from finishing in the top 5 to now running 9th. This is why we're seeing Silverman be so unsuccessful with the points this year.
Yeah, and I was going to say, as Bergeron now attacking for second, he's been trying to get the slingshot on the exit of 4. He does just that, but here comes Chris Brenner again. Well, out of these cars are tapping the outside wall. Britton Roxbury now. It's now his turn to slap the outside wall. This is probably the 3rd or 4th machine that has cankered that outside wall with the right rear. And that is just, once it happens, it's lucky to hold the car together as the yellow flag holds out one more time.
Are we going to get a one-lap restart? We might get a one-lap restart here. It's going to be very close, as we have actually Britton Roxbury. I see Dave Heileman involved in this one as well. Let's see what exactly happened. I know that 421 car, we saw him get on the outside wall. Yeah, you're right. The 421, he tried to slide up the racetrack and chop the nose off that 5 machine, Cam, maybe nursing a little bit of damage as Heileman tried to drive it down to the bottom. The 421 just flat out lost the rear end and spun down into him. Really nothing either of those drivers could do there. Side of the 421, maybe not spinning the car. Actually, excellent avoidance there by the 9 of Phil Diaz, slipping his way right through there and threading that needle.
And as that caution came out, Chris Brenner and Alex Bergeron were actually side by side, and that's actually going to go to Alex Bergeron. And if we do get a restart, I'm not sure if we're going to, Randy, but if we do, that means Alex Bergeron's going to be on the outside for it.
Yep, it's going to be interesting here. We're going to have to wait and see if the lights go out at the start-finish line right here, right now. We're getting a restart. And the fact that the drivers are starting to form themselves up 2 by 2 tells me that we're going to have a one-lap shootout to decide who win this thing. Safety truck will be crossing the line at about 3, 2, 1. And the lights go out half mile to decide who wins this thing in the feature race at Eldora.
Yeah, I gotta say, this is gonna be pretty exciting. We'll see if Tim Ryan can get the jump. He should be able to, but you never know.
So, half a mile to decide this thing. Fireworks are sure to result here as the field runs down the back straightaway. Gloves will officially be off right here, right now. Tim Ryan getting the word from Race to Control to close up to that iRacing safety truck. First time we've seen that. Green flag back in the air. Tim Ryan gets on it. He makes it to the line. We will finish this thing under green. It's a huge advantage for the 98 of Tim Ryan through corners number 1 and 2. But Bergeron is going to try to close up in towards 3 and 4. He goes down to the bottom. Going to try to slide up on Ryan or force him into a mistake. Not going to work. And Tim Ryan is going to win his 4th race in the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Championship Series here on iRacing. Continuing an impressive string of dominance. Driver from down under been fantastic all season.
Yeah, that's going to be the first victory for the Altus team, as he was able to hold on. We did see, believe it was the season opener that Semmelman kind of threw that last turn.
No, that
gas.
was at Charlotte.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it was and we did not see that from Bergeron, so I'm happy about that. Tim Ryan, I'm sure, was almost bracing, going, "Oh, is that going to happen?" It didn't. So good run into Tim Ryan, though. Obviously, he was the quickest here through all of the different phases of the track.
He definitely was. It was a fantastic show of dominance from that 98 car. No one really had his number all night, and now we're going to go down your official finishing results. Tim Ryan, quickest in practice, I believe, quickest in qualifying, and he wins the feature, won his heat as well. I think he pretty much led every single lap. He was on the racing surface. Alex Bergeron comes home in 2nd, Chris Brenner in 3rd, and what a run from Matt McKinney. 2 weeks in a row that him and or his brother have done this, from 11th up to 4th, going from the mid-pack up forward. I got him a win last week, didn't quite get him there this week, but still got him a top 5. James Edens rounds out that top 5. Austin Selman able to muscle his way back up to 6th. Pretty lucky, I think, in that respect. Anthony LaPresto from 16th up to 7th. There's an amazing amount of drivers that ran their way through the field in the mid-pack. 16th up to 7th for LaPresto. 15th to 8th for Phil Diaz. Weston Newell 13th to 9th. And Ryan Pace 17th up to 10th. David Heileman finishes in 11th. Cameron Dance in 12th. Britton Roxbury in 13th. Nick Cooper up to 14th with Robert Kurtzetter in 15th. He rounds out the 15 cars who finish on the lead lap. With Dan Smolders, Michael Sheridan, Rusty Kruger, Adam Elby, and AJ Neben rounding out the rest of the 20-car field. We're going to step away for a couple moments here on RaceSpot TV and then bring you post-race action here on Dirt Vision and the iRacing Esports Network. Don't go away.
Courage at the mile. What part did courage play in this victory?
Kinzer going into the corner, trying to get by Dale Waxo, makes contact.
Hell of a lot, I'll tell you that right there.
So many times, everybody had lost track. Look at how it shot up on the center track.
Tell you what, that was some close races at a high speed.
The World of Outlaws create memories for fans every night. Now share your favorite Outlaw moment on social media. Whether it was 1978, 1998, or 2018, we want to know, what's your Outlaw moment? Did you sneak into a victory lane picture? Get whiplash driving past a parking lot full of crews at work? Or maybe you simply got to meet your favorite driver in the pits after the races. Tweet it, Instagram it, just use the hashtag #MyOutlawMoment. You might even hear Voice of the Outlaws Johnny Gibson share your memory at the track. Don't delay, start posting today. Let us know with My Outlaw Moment.
Welcome back here to RaceSpot TV on Dirt Vision and the iRacing Esports Network. We bring you post-race coverage from the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Championship Series, and a fantastic race is what we had on tap tonight. And our first interview is going to be with the man, the myth, the legend, who's been dominant in this series thus far. 5 races now and 3 wins for that number 98 car of Tim Ryan. We are going to be joined by him in the booth. And Tim, another dominant performance from you. You've pretty much gotten into a groove with these sprint cars. You had a couple little hiccups early on in the season, but it's been pretty much smooth sailing for you in that 98 car ever since. What have you hit on to make yourself so fast and so consistent across all these surfaces and across some of the different updates we've seen as well?
I wish I could answer that question. Just seemed to click with the last few updates, and obviously with the net code in round 1, that put me back a fair bit in points. So then just being pretty committed to try and make them back up.
Racetrack seemed pretty racy here tonight. Now I know you I mean, it wouldn't have seemed too racy to you, considering you were about a mile in front of the field pretty much the entire evening. But what's sort of your take on some of the updates we've seen? Because this track, at least in the mid-pack, seemed really, really good. There were sliders up and down the field. The fight for second was intense at times as well. What's your take? How did you like the track tonight?
Yeah, the track slowed up a lot more than I thought. The top was still the fastest way around, but it was just slow enough because I knew the boys behind were throwing plenty of sliders. So, yeah, it was obviously a good race to watch, so can't wait to watch it back.
Next race in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be going to the Williams Grove for the first of 2 trips. It's a track that a lot of the drivers aren't huge fans of on the service. It's I'm personally my favorite. But Williams Grove, what's your take there? You think you're going to have the sort of speed there, or is it you think it might be a track you'll struggle at?
It's got 4 corners and it's dirt, so it shouldn't be much different. Just a little bit different setup with it being tight corners, long straight, and limited banking.
Well, we'll have to wait to see how that philosophy works out for you. Thanks for joining us, Tim. Congratulations once again on a super strong run here this evening and another win in this championship. Before we let you go, who gets it done for that number 98 car at the all-new Team Atlas?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Simon for letting me come on board. I'm really excited to see what the future holds for the team. I was lucky enough. I've been on holidays for the last week, so I haven't been able to practice, but I was able to go across to one of the team sponsors, Motim Simulations, and jump on their motion sim to get my eye in for a few hours. So yeah, that was much appreciated. So,
Did you try it in the sprint car? I imagine that would have shook you around pretty good.
Yeah, I got sore shoulders and sore arms because I've only got a 8 wheel at home, so the thing was tearing me to pieces.
Well, maybe we'll see Tim Ryan getting himself a motion rig then to beat himself up every single night. But Tim, congratulations. Hope to see you run strong at the Grove in a couple weeks. Yeah,
cheers, boys. Thanks for broadcasting. You do a wonderful job.
Thanks, bud. Always a pleasure. Now we got second place here. 12 machine of Alex Bergeron. It comes up short against Tim Ryan once again, and he stood by with Cam Walsh.
Alex Bergeron, the number 12 machine, finishing in second after starting in third here at the Big E. Alex, it's almost like your kind of track here. You have that high side, but you just couldn't seem to get that right rear planted. How was your day at Eldora?
Well, it was kind of tough, but I was just here for the points tonight, just trying to get back up in the standings, so now we're in second. Sadly, Alward just didn't make the fusion tonight, but we're trying to get up in the points just a little bit, trying to be a bit more stable, get good averages. I tried to go for the win there in the last corner, but I knew that was not going to work, so I backed out of it. And but man, that was a good battle with Chris Brenner. I got to thank him for these trading slide jobs and stuff like that. That was awesome, and I'm pretty sure that put on a good show on the screen. Pretty sure.
Yeah, most definitely, and it certainly put on a good show. You and Chris Brenner were going back and forth, it seemed, every other lap at times. Unfortunately, a couple of cautions there. But either way, normally I would expect Eldora to kind of be a big track for you. But we're going to Williams Grove in a couple of weeks' time. I'm excited about it because it's one of those paperclip tracks. We don't really have those, a lot of them. But either way, how are you looking at Williams Grove?
Well, I've always been quick over there at that track, and we're gonna practice a little bit more and trying to find something for qualifying, trying to get ourselves in front. And Tim Ryan is pretty quick, Eldora especially, so we'll see how next week goes. But looking forward for Williams Grove, especially it's a good track, pretty sure for Team VLR too. We always been being very good over there, so I can't wait for that track. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
And so that's Alex Bergeron, who should be surpassing Howard Weaver for second position in the point standing, because Howard obviously wasn't able to make the feature. So, anyone you would like to give a hello to before we let you go?
Oh yeah, definitely all the guys at Team VLR, especially Austin, helped me out on the setup for tonight and for the whole team. So thanks to Team VLR, their collective, all my sponsors, RacingDude.com, Our Inc., their car racing. And BK Designs for an awesome paint scheme as always and for every week. And we'll love Outlaws for putting this on, and you guys for broadcasting and doing an awesome job every week. Oh, and by the way, thanks to Garrett Robinson for being on the box tonight. That was awesome. Thanks to him.
Well, of course, and thank you for hopping in the booth with us. We always appreciate it. So that is Alex Bergeron, the number 12 machine. And we've got Chris Brenner, the number 70 machine, Randy, and he's going to be standing by with you.
Yep, I'm stood by with Chris. And Chris, you had a pretty good run tonight. I think it's one of the better performances we've seen from you this season. And really one of the first times you put together a good qualifying, a good heat, and then, managed to put itself into a good main. You were running second at one point, but Alex ended up managing to slip through. But you guys had a fantastic scrap for second, one of the most exciting bits of racing up and down the field. How was it swapping sliders with him for about 5 or 6 laps?
Oh, it was so much fun, man. That's some of the most fun I've ever had on here. But I hope the fans enjoyed it too. It was a slugfest the entire night for the podium there. It was just wild.
It seems like you're starting to finally hit your stride once we start getting into the midpoint of the season. I know the first couple rounds were a bit of a struggle for you, but you've started to chain together some good results. What is that come off anything in particular? Did you find some setup values? What is it that you guys have hit on that's made you a little bit more consistent?
Well, we've been working on setup a little bit, but I think the biggest thing for me is just breaking the seal in that last week or 2 weeks ago at Knoxville, getting the second place there. I think I'm just a little bit more comfortable now, shaking the jitters, getting into these big races, and I'm finding my rhythm, earlier in the night and making good progress out there.
Well, it's always good to see, Chris. 1 lap shootout, you were rolling off on that 3rd spot, and I'm sure that had to be stressful. Did you? How worried were you about having a potential back-to-back good result weeks, potentially just go up and smoke or have a rear wing or a wing get ripped off the car or something if you flip down the front straightaway after some drama?
Oh God, that last restart was terrible on my brain, man. It's all I could think about is I'm gonna screw up, I'm gonna get the wall, or somebody's gonna get under me, and it's just gonna be game over. I think the wildest part of that whole race was I think that was Britton Roxbury and Bergeron both throwing a slider on me on the restart prior to that, I believe, and somehow I got underneath them there. But yeah, you never want to see a yellow flag come out for a 1 lap shootout. It's terrible on the nerves.
Well, I certainly enjoyed it, and I think everyone else did as well, at least who was watching. But I agree that you guys on the track probably aren't super ecstatic about the half mile boxing matches to get it done. But thanks regardless, Chris, and congratulations on another strong performance. Hopefully you can keep that seal broken, continue that string momentum as we go to the Grove in 2 weeks' time. Before we let you go, who gets it done for that beautiful-looking number 70?
Thanks, guys. Teammates at UW Motorsports, I can't thank them enough. You guys up in the booth at Race Spot, you guys do a phenomenal job every week. Colby's eye paints. Colby's in the hospital right now. Hope you get well, bud. If my mom's watching, hi, Mom. Next Gen Fabrication, Ultimate Dirt TV. And last but not least, Wicked Cushion. Go check them out. Matt's doing some amazing things with the company and picking up some serious drivers like Dale Blaney. He's doing some awesome stuff, and we're glad he's on board with us. Thanks a lot, guys.
Well, super good to hear. Hopefully maybe we can see him in one of these sprint car races at some point. But Cam, what a fantastic night of action we saw tonight. It was almost similar to what we saw in the late models last week. The track started out was pretty much a single groove. And then once it got pretty deep in the night, we started seeing some second lines come in. People were able to throw some sliders on one another. All in all, the track ended up getting really racing and put on a fantastic show because of it.
Yeah, I mean, I wish obviously we didn't have those cautions where we had maybe another 5-10 laps to it. As long as the fuel tanks could go. I gotta say, I do also want to just say real quick, I'm happy that we don't have these little the fuel games anymore. So that's made everything much better. But I'm pretty excited. I thought we had a very, very good race. I'm hopeful that these guys can continue to do this, and I'm looking for Williams Grove in the sprint cars.
I'm definitely looking forward to it as well. Williams Grove is one of my favorite circuits on the service. I love the paperclip style racetracks for dirt, the long straightaways with the tight corners. I just really do enjoy it. Just fits my style. Always been one of my favorite circuits. That, however, is going to do it for us here on RaceSpot TV. We'll say just in closing thoughts, some people who really need to pull it together. Got you, Hugo. I bet you thought I was going to say something you would regret. Thank you guys for tuning in here on RaceSpot TV on Dirt Vision and the all-new iRacing Esports Network. It has been a fantastic show. We got a lot more action coming up for you this week on RaceSpot TV, most notably the VRS GT iRacing World Championship Series 6-hour race at Spa. That's going to be happening on Saturday. It should be a fantastic show as we go through there. But for everyone here at RaceSpot TV, from myself, from Cam Walsh, and from Hugo Louis, thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.